Okay, so we'll talk now a little bit more about the page views, visits, and visitors, what they are and what they mean. So in Google Analytics, a page view is counted every time a page on your website loads. For example, if someone comes to your website, they view page A and then page B even, and then page A again and leaves your site, the total count for that is going to be 3 page views. So that's also counted if you hit the refresh button. So every time, if you're on the home page and you refresh and you refresh and you refresh, that'll count as 3 page views. Every time that that individual page, any page has loaded, if you go back, it entirely counts every single time someone views a single page. A visit is the period of time of interactive between the browser and a website. So a visit is if you're coming, the length of time that you're on that website for 30 minutes. So for example, if you come, say I'm browsing on a website and I looked at 3 pages and I get a phone call and I come back after 31 minutes and I start browsing again, that's going to count it as 2 different sessions because that period of 30 minutes has lapsed where in between you've stopped using that website. However, if I came back within 29 minutes and continued looking at the website, it would only count as 1 session. So they've used half an hour's average time that someone might go away, make a cup of tea, or whether they forget about going to the website or they come back to it. And also, it also counts if someone has come to your website. If they come back to your website regularly, and it's something we'll talk about loyalty later, but if someone comes back to your website regularly, you may get quite a lot of returning visitors for that, and each session will be counted individually. So a visitor is uniquely identified by a Google Analytics visitor cookie. So this is getting slightly into the technical side of it, how Google actually measures it, but basically Google installs this cookie into your computer and can track to a certain amount. It doesn't take any personal information, but it takes enough information about what pages you were visiting and how long you were there for. So it assigns this random ID to the user and combines it with a timestamp of the first time they're on that website. So the combination of this visitor ID and the timestamp, establishes a unique ID for the visitor. Every time that you're on that website, it's going to track you. There are difficulties with Google because it's never going to be 100% accurate. If you, for example, clear the cookies off your computer, which sometimes we may suggest you do for various reasons, it then will count you as a new user. So there's always slight discrepancies, but on the whole, it is probably one of the best reported tools you can find, and definitely for tracking your marketing campaigns. So just to take you through an example, generally the visitors metric is going to be smaller than the visits metric, which is then smaller than the page views. So when you look at your report, you're going to find that your page views is generally the highest number that you're going to see. So you've had a lot of page views. And then your visits will be the second, and visitors. So I'll explain how this works. If you're a visitor and you come to your website, so let's take our website for example. The first time they visit, that's 1 visitor. So the first time they visit, they view 3 pages, and the second time they go back to visit, they view 5 pages. So in total, there's been 1 visitor. They've had 2 sessions, and altogether 8 page views. Now we'll talk a bit about unique page views. So a page view is defined by the number of pages that is tracked by this Google Analytics code. So as I said, if you hit refresh after hitting a page, it counts it as another page view. If the user navigates to a new page and then returns to the original page, that counts as an additional page view. A unique page view represents a number of visits during which the page was viewed, whether 1 or more times. So in other words, if a visitor views page A 3 times during 1 visit, Google will only count this as 3 page views and 1 unique page view. Does that make sense? Okay, so if you're traveling through the site, you can actually see how many times they've visited each page, or if they've just the unique page views in that. So absolute unique visitors reports counts each visitor during your selected date range only once. So if visitor A comes to your site 5 times during the selected date range, and visitor B comes just once, they're counted as just 2 unique visitors. Even if they've come back and back and back, it's just 2 unique visitors. The new versus returning visitors classifies each visit coming either from a new visit or from a returning visitor. So this is really important if you want to know the loyalty of your customers, and if people are coming back to your website over a period of time, which is really important. So if someone visits your site for the first time, they're classified as a new visitor. If a person has browsed your website before and comes back, they're classed as a returning visitor. So a high number of new visitors in your site is going to suggest that you're really good at getting people to come to your website. Whether that's from your pay-per-click or your organic, there's lots of people that are coming into your website. Whereas if you have a high amount of returning visitors, it means that whatever's in your website is really engaging and they're interested in it. So I mean, it's a good view to take, and for some people, one metric is more important than the other. If you're trying to get, if it's only important that that person comes to your website once and they're only going to make one purchase, whether you're a cleaning company and you just want them to fill in a form, or if you're a shop and you want them to keep on coming back and keep on purchasing. So it's a really important metric depending on the sector you're in and how you can look at it, and it's something that I'm sure, when we're producing reports, it's something that, we can let you know exactly, if you have the high returning or you have a high amount of new visitors to your site. The loyalty report also shows how frequently they return to your site, which if you're interested in, that's something that we can show you how to find.